All right, what is it? Is it Sunday night? Must be the Sunday night radio Baloney Live. How's everybody doing? I'm doing pretty good. Were you guys watching like football and stuff? Probably some of you probably still watching football. At least got it on in the background. Some people probably not even going to watch this show because there's football on. Because that's just the way the world works. The world isn't fair. I understand that. All right. What are you guys doing? Hey, Rosie, what the hell are you doing over on YouTube? What is happening? Why are you on Rumble? Are you trying to confuse me? What the hell is happening in the world? This is confusing. I'm not sure I like this. This is crazy. All right. Well, there are some people over on YouTube. That's good news. Anyway, what are we doing? All right. All right. I just figured it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the menu, the things we're going to talk about tonight, and then we'll go back to the chat. Then we're going to come back and go through all of those stories in detail. How about that? I thought you guys would like that. All right. So first off, what do we got here? We got a funny thing from, this is from the Somalia thing. Just, I don't know. It keeps getting more hilarious, really. Here's from the Babylon Bee. Visit Minnesota. It's Somalia, but closer. I thought you'd like it. It's something kind of a little more lighthearted, and maybe angering to start off the show. Then we've got ice stuff. So it's just nuts. Keep hearing people say things like insurrection and stuff and crazy leftist dingbats. We'll talk about that. Let's see. Yeah. So Trump is now threatening 100% tariffs on Canada over our dealings with China. And I think I've been saying for a long time, Carney does not want a trade deal. He wants to tank the whole thing with the United States. I think what happened with Trump, he does the same thing all the time, right? And everybody should know. It should not be a surprise to anybody. Any expert negotiator like Carney is supposed to be should know. He comes out with the huge ask with the, shock and awe, and then it comes down and it ends up being something reasonable for both sides. Like in Trump's first term, even with Trudeau, with the trade deal then, right? Everybody should know. And I think that it works if you're dealing with a rational actor on the other side. If you're dealing with an actor on the other side, as in Carney, if he is if he's working towards the benefit of his country, it works. But if he's purely selfishly motivated for his own schemes and he does not care what happens to Canada, well, then it doesn't work. Then he goes off to China and decides he's going to form some new world order with China, security partnerships with a country that's interfering in all of our elections, and a secret police and spies on us. All of that serves Carney's interest, not Canada's. But he can say, oh, well, Trump's pushing me towards China. I have no choice. I didn't want to do this. The whole thing is crazy. Okay, we'll talk about that. Let's see. Mark Carney, China. Here's Peter MacKay, Canadian conservative, talking about Carney's speech. Is just his fantastical, but also, in my mind, very, very cynical speech at the World Economic Forum. More stuff on Carney. We're going to talk about, is there an election going to be coming? I think that there is. I think he's paving the way here. We're going to have Pierre Poilievre responding to Carney's speech. We've got meme review. Everybody loves those. Everybody loves the meme reviews. Of course, that's why we do them. Let's see. There was some news of an attempted China coup over the last day. We're going to take a look at that and just see what the scuttlebutt is. It didn't work in any case, if there was one. We're going to look at the newest polling in Canada, see what's happening there. There's not really much change. JD Vance talking about left-wing violence, which is a major problem. Alberta independence, we'll take a little bit of a peek at this, just see what's going on, update everybody. It's probably time we went over what the actual procedure is that's happening right now with this petition. And then we're going to go to the last one, which is a bunch of stuff you guys sent in. This is all the junk you guys sent in. All the garbage you got sent. Some of this we've got to save for the premium stream tomorrow, though. So just to let you know ahead of time. But yeah, bunch of stuff. It should not be as long of a stream tonight, I don't think, because we just don't have as much stuff. All right. Now, anybody watching on YouTube, please go and subscribe to my second channel, Radio Baloney News. It's started at about, 4 months ago or something. 178 videos on there already. All of the world news, US news, UK, meme review, woke mind virus stuff, all going to be on Radio Baloney News from now on, not on the main channel, the one you're watching right now, which is only for live streams and Canadian news. So you've got to go and subscribe to that one. Don't wait for it to come to you, because it won't, because the algorithm, it hates me, it hates you, it hates all of us. It's not going to put us together, right? Why would it do that? It hates us. It doesn't want us getting together because it would make us stronger, and it fears that. You see, it fears that. So you have to go do it yourself. Do it and make all of us stronger, including yourself, and get good karma. All right. After all of that, bit of rant juice. All right. So as everybody knows, we're streaming on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, and on Locals. And when you subscribe to the channel, become a channel member, send money, whatever, buy a channel membership for somebody, you get free good karma. But what a lot of people don't even know is that you can get that free karma just from liking the stream. That's right, I'm telling you right now. And if you're one of the early ones, then you get extra good karma. So it's that good. In these troubled times, can you afford to turn your back on some free good karma? I don't think so. I wouldn't do it. I heard somebody did that. They died. It was awful. Awful. A tragedy. A genuine tragedy. Spambot fodder got the first like. That's 6 good karmas for you. Rosie got the second like. That is 5 good karmas for Rosie. Trudeau Survivor coming in third. Third like. That is a 4 good karmas for Trudeau Survivor. All right. Looks like, yeah. Trudeau Survivor says, did someone say something? I'm in a tunnel. Okay. Well, I hope he's out, finally got out of the tunnel. Let's see. Rosie says, all of you or just your head? Well, that could happen. Let's see. Talking about the weather. We could skip that. Rosie says, South and West East Tennessee got a dangerous amount of ice, some snow. Places north and east of here got enough ice to cause problems and a ton of snow. We had only sleet and ice. Melted now. Well, thank God Todd Howell was there to keep you informed and keep you out of trouble. And that reminds me, by the way, I heard this beautiful, beautiful story about Todd Howell, and there's a lesson for all of us in it about perseverance and just not giving up,
So the word on the street is Todd Howell, 30 years at Channel 10. Do you know how hard that is to believe? I just can't wrap my head around it, as we say in the business. But it's been a great 30 years. I can remember like it was yesterday when Todd Howell gave his first weather forecast and said, up here in Texas, I finally figured out where Texas was. So, but I thought maybe this isn't for him. But turns out it was.
It turns out it was. It was indeed. It was indeed. There we go. JJ Todd Howell, I know. Big inspiration. Big inspiration for this channel, Todd Howell. This is a Todd Howell channel. It's a Todd Howell channel. East Tennessee knows. I mean, I hate to think poor West Tennessee. They must be just green with envy. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Now what's going on? Simply Rosie says, looking forward to updates, Chet and Todd Howell. You got your Todd Howell. Let's see. Rosie says, was in Seattle once. cross to Vancouver to see Bouchard Gardens. Did you get stabbed by any like heroin AIDS needles while you were there? Did you step on any? That's mostly Vancouver is mostly just used needles now. So, and crack pipes too. So I think that most of the new construction actually, there's not much of it with the housing problems, but most of the new construction now is made out of actually recycled needles and crack pipes in Vancouver. So they're putting it to good use. Everything smells like crack, unfortunately, but what are you going to do? I mean, this is the cost of living in a liberal democracy. Spambo Fodder got second like on the extreme. That's another 5 good karmas. If I'm counting correctly, that's 10 good karmas for Spambot. He's really on top of it. He's on the trolley. Steve Harding, how you doing? Monday morning here in the UK. Well, it is Sunday night here in Canada. Glad you could make it. Rosie says, just karma farming. Well, that's not a bad thing to do. Metal Health 1974. Good evening, beautiful and blessed people. Good evening to you, sir. JJ Nevada got like number 5. I believe that is, 2 good karmas or something like that. Anyway, that's a lot. Metal Health 1974 says, Mark Carney is an SO and idiot. I agree. Nevada says, hey, everyone. Hey, you, Nevada. Steve Harding says, you can't trust any of these scumbags. In fact, let me go a little. This deserves more. You can't trust any of these scumbags. I'm going to write a movie screenplay. I'm going to put that in there. Maybe Death Wish 18. You can't trust any of these scumbags. I agree. Nobody says, Carney got Trump pissed now. I agree he did. And it's stupid because you know what? He gave his big speech. He went out and gave his big, incoherent, idiotic speech. His fantastical speech about the middle powers joining Canada. I guess Canada's going to lead, but Canada is not really going to lead the revolt against the states because it's the New World Order with China. And who do you think? China. Do you think they're gonna follow Canada? I don't think so. Just a big idiotic speech. By the way, the next day after giving that speech, rallying the troops of the middle powers, the middle powers said, actually, Trump, you can have your Greenland deal. So yeah, that was the next day. And you know what? I woke up the next day and Canada was still right next to the fucking United States. And all those roads and railways and pipelines were still there. We weren't next to China, however much Mark Carney would like that. We still weren't next to Europe. We still had an ocean on either side and a frozen wasteland to the north of us. We were still in exactly the same place. Even though, and I know people, I know this is shocking, even though Mark Carney gave an idiotic speech. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Who would have guessed that it would change nothing? That Carney's speech would change absolutely nothing. Who could have changed? Well, I tell you, just not for the better. Changed nothing for the better. He's just making it worse. At this point, it's obvious. He's tanking our relationship with the states on purpose, for his own purposes, for his, remember, he was a UN climate finance envoy. He's been the point man for this climate finance stuff, for the boondoggle, right? To funneling government's money, taxpayer money into all these green boondoggles. He's been the point man for a very long time, and I think that's what this is all about. That's what I think it's all about. There's none of that stuff going on in the States, so now what are we doing? Let's see. Metal Health says Mark Carney made a huge mistake. It's a mistake if you're rooting for the Canadian people, for the well-being of the Canadian people. For Carney, it's not a mistake. He doesn't care about the Canadian people. It's going to work out great for him. Don't forget, China is like big, lots of lip service for the carbon credit stuff, right? Mark Carney loves that. Lots of money to be made there. Like, what do you think that Carney's going to do when he's no longer prime minister? Do you think he's going to become a gardener? Think he's going to just garden his property in the afternoons? No, he's going straight back to Brookfield and his ESG fund, or he's got to run Stripe, who's handling the carbon credits, something like that, obviously. He's not going to like groom like little bonsai trees or something. La, 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 la. Apparently some delays going on with Rumble. Jack, how you doing? Let's see. I got energy. I wonder if it's this intermittent fasting thing that I'm doing. I don't know. I probably used all my energy there in the first, 17 minutes. Nevada says, Carney doesn't give a flip about Canadians, and I agree. JJ Nevada says, Todd Howell, and I agree with that as well. Todd Howell, beautiful. In fact, I'm getting so frustrated and getting angry, it almost makes me want to give up sometimes. And I would give up if it were not for one man.
It's how you adapt and handle adversity. And when things aren't going well, that's the time where victory is there.
Todd Howell's right again. He's never wrong. He's never wrong. You're right. I will use that as inspiration, Todd Howell. Thank you so much. Thank you for your inspiration. Let's see. I'm in from Alberta. Good to see you over on YouTube. All right. Let's see. Jack says, volleyball serve, buttocks wobble, very Moorish. I don't know. You know, she's bottom heavy. Bottom heavy. Not much going on top, but there's a big party happening down below. Rosie says, had to leave early the other night. Drop back in for the end of the drop back in the end for listen only. Thank you for my weather report. And everybody is from the 1950s on my show. Let's see. Steve Harding says, looking at better times, and I agree. Nevada says, Vancouver sounds like San Francisco. You know, they actually voted in, and I was astonished by this. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago or something. They voted in like a kind of like, I guess a guy who was kind of pretending to be kind of nominally conservative a little bit. Anyway, nothing has really changed. Let's see. Mental Health was gifted a membership by Rosie. What the hell is happening? What? This is fantastic. Actually, you know what? We don't have many people still subscribed for because there's a lot of memberships, but they elapse after a month, so we don't have many for tomorrow. Actually, for the premium stream. So this is excellent work from Rosie. Guess what? Guess what happens when somebody does something wonderful like giving me money or donating a subscription to the channel? Guess what happens? They become the best person ever. So there you go. We don't need any more evidence. Rosie, best person ever. Whoever you admire, any historical figures, anybody now, whatever, anybody you admire, I'm sure they're awesome. But I'm afraid to tell you, I'm sorry to tell you, compared to Rosie, total dog shit. Rosie's the best person ever, and that's just the way it is. One more time. All for less than the cost of a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. I mean, it's amazing. It's a nice feeling. It's a good feeling. All right, let's move on. Rosie says, was in Vancouver a very long time before crack pipes. You know, it's been a long time. It's been decades, to be honest. Let's see. Steve Harding says, good movie. Now, what are you guys saying? Mental Health says, Mark Carney is a gigantic jackass. He totally is. Totally, I agree. 100%. 100. Nevada says, a stinking, no good, filthy gummy, Carney. Dummy gets nothing. Actually, he's getting a lot, though. He's going to be very, very wealthy when he leaves office. Amen says, thankfully, I'm in Alberta. Nice. Well, you might just be independent at some point in the future. We'll have to see. Seems like it looks to me like they're gonna get the numbers they need for the petition. So 177,000, 10% of the voting public. I think they look good to get that. Then the referendum itself, that's another issue. But anybody who thinks it's not possible, who says that's impossible, that's not possible, there's no way. I think that those people are kidding themselves. It could happen. Not guaranteed, but absolutely could. Rosie says, awesome inspiration, that Todd Howell. That's why we love him so much. Steve Harding says, globalists don't give a shit about us plebs. No, they certainly don't. They don't. Mental Health says, women's butts are a thing of beauty. And I agree. It's a nice thing. Let's see. All right. Mental Health says, Rosie is the best person ever. It's true. Do we got where's Dramus? Dramus, how you doing? Trudeau Survivor. Did I welcome you in earlier? Trudeau Survivor, good to see you. I think I did. I don't know. I can't remember anymore. My brain. You know what? My brain. I got dropped on my head when I was a kid. I don't know if you guys know that. Let's see. Amen says, yes, we will be free from Ottawa. And, well, I don't think it's a sure thing. But I think anybody who says that it will, because there are people that just say, oh, that'll never happen. And those people are kidding themselves. Quebec almost left. It was like 51-49. Right? They missed out by 2% in 95. So, yes, it's possible. All right. I think I used all my energy just in the chat, just dealing with the chat there. But it was fun, though. We had a good time. All right. I guess we'll get to this. I can rest while we watch this. From the Babylon Bee. So the Babylon Bee is the Onion now. So the Babylon Bee is what the Onion used to be. Every once in a while, I'll check out the Onion, and it's just like, ugh. The problem is, if you're woke,
everything woke turns to shit.
Woke reduces the acceptable. Woke turns everything into this. Woke comedy has to conform to this really narrow bandwidth of what's acceptable, right? Because they have to check, they have to go over, make sure it's not going to offend any of the wrong people or any of the right people. Right, they got to be great. It's just this really narrow little bandwidth. There's one group of people they're allowed to make fun of, and that's it. So they're not funny. Whereas Babylon Bee makes fun of, they really do make fun of everybody, but obviously they make fun of the left a lot because it's just so damn easy. But let's take a look.
Visit Minnesota, a land of beauty, where more than 10,000 sparkling lakes reflect endless blue skies. Just as memorable as the scenery are the people who call Minnesota home. Minnesotans embody a spirit of kindness and community that visitors feel instantly. If it's cultural diversity you're looking for, we have that too. From angry Somalis to angry lesbians, Minnesota has it all. But Minnesota is so much more. Enjoy winter sports, we have hockey and skiing, and bashing law enforcement SUVs with a metal pipe. Fun. Looking to go out in the evening for entertainment? Check out Minnesota's vibrant music scene. Or maybe an exciting fireworks show is more your speed. And of course, if you just want to spend hours practicing saying someone's name, you've come to the right place. What about the food? Shall we talk about the food? Okay, let's not talk about the food. But if it's cultural enrichment you're after, you can visit one of our world-class leering centers to leer even more about the fine state of Minnesota. So, if you've always wanted to visit Somalia, but are concerned it's too far away, come to Minnesota. Minnesota, because Somalia is too far away.
That's a good one. We don't have to talk about the food. Diversity from angry Somalis to angry lesbians. What's this? So let's see. That's Tim Walz there, and he's leading. Is that ice? Hold on. Sorry, Mr. Snacks is getting paranoid again, barking at the door. Somebody who's out there trying to live their life, and he's not having that. Anyway, there's Tim Walz, and I guess he's leading ISIS down the streets of Minneapolis, I guess. I wonder if there's music with this. Checks out. Checks out. Finally, a school for the smartest girls in Congress, the Leering Center. Leering is fun. I leered the hard way. Leering. All right. Well, I guess that was enough. Let's move on. So, Cam Higbee posted this. Minneapolis Signal infiltrated. I have infiltrated organizational signal groups all around Minneapolis with the sole intention of tracking down federal agents and impeding, assaulting, and obstructing them. So these signal groups are this coordinated effort to impede law enforcement, federal law enforcement. I mean, obviously, the local law enforcement is also doing that as well, or just doing nothing, certainly not helping. Buckle up, all will be revealed. So, like, when you see this, it's a lot. Like, this is a lot of people. This is a big organized effort, right? It's a huge organized effort. Somebody's funding this stuff. I mean, look at this. If this is all real, high volume chat group, all leads start here and get posted in FTP chat when it's confirmed ICE activity. Unvetted chat. While on a shift, please put emoji in front of your signal name so we know your role and location. So it's organized. They have roles. This is a group that is organized and is well, I guess what's the word? Let's see. Insurrecting against the federal government. They're trying to prevent federal law from being enforced. And it seems like a fairly large group of people all organized. Who's funding this? Somebody's funding this. Somebody's paying people to do this. Mobile patrol, stationary patrol, foot patrol, dispatch, hyper-local group messenger, school transport safety spotter, license plate checker, medic, aftercare provider. For each occupation or shift position, protesters have to undergo training. It's unclear what the training entails other than numerous slides of instruction. I've seen it mentioned repeatedly. Who is paying for all this? So, well, I guess at least indirectly, George Soros is given something. Maybe he's just sending them sandwiches. Who knows? So there's something. So they've separated it all into zones. Somebody's organizing this. This is obviously very organized. This feels like a rebellion, doesn't it? Does it not? Like, I think the Trump administration is going to be. I think Trump supporters are going to expect a bunch of people arrested. Because, I mean, the purpose of this is to impede federal law enforcement, immigration law. That's what it's for. So it feels a bit insurrection-y, doesn't it? Let's see. A DHS agent had part of his finger bitten off by rioters in Minnesota. These people are absolutely sick. Why aren't we reopening the asylums? That's from Nick Sortor. I have not confirmed this, but geez, look at that. Oh my God. That's part of a finger. Apparently, well, was it her? Was it this thing? Yikes. Why aren't we reopening the asylums? Yikes. So it's all just good people, right? Like here, Right Angle News Network. It's been revealed Minneapolis's Antifa general, a.k.a. Kyle Wagner, who recently called for guns to be used against the federal government, is a cross-dresser who really enjoys dresses. So it's like 80% of Antifa now are this guy, right? It's like 80% of them. It's a weird connection, right, between trans and revolutionary communism. Look at this. There's like some lady, like, what's she doing? Like, you can't stop that car. Like you're not Wonder Woman or She-Hulk. Like it's just baffling. Like what are they doing? They're doing this for open borders. They want open borders, just infinite immigration. I think these are all Bolsheviks. I think they want the downfall of Western civilization. They want the United States to fall so they can build up their Marxist collectivist utopia on top of it. Terrifying. Let's see. Let's see. John Lott, here's from Ann Coulter. John Lott ran the numbers. Here they are in clip and save format. Of 170 U.S. citizens detained by ICE, but 130 were arrested for interfering with or assaulting officers, according to the left-leaning ProPublica. Trump error rate, 0.0067%. That's very tiny. Obama's error rate equals 0.0225%. 3 times the Trump error rate. It's still tiny. Still tiny. Under Trump, there's been 1 death for every 18,594 detainees. Under Obama, there was 1 death for every 14,314 detainees. So worse under Obama. Of course, none of this will, I mean, even if somehow some leftist manages to see this, it won't matter. They will just ignore it. Their brains will go blank and their brains will just expel it as a toxin. No, it's Trump must be bad. Obviously worse than Obama, because Obama was basically Jesus, right? Under Trump, the number of American citizens accidentally deported, 0. Under Obama, the number of American citizens accidentally deported, 4. So the thing is that, yeah, so don't expect leftists to ever see anything like this or see any evidence that contradicts them and to accept it. They will just ignore it. It doesn't matter. They don't care about that. They care about how it feels, how they're feeling, right? And I think it's important these days. This is in every country. This is in the US and Canada, UK, just all throughout Europe. Just remember they don't care, right? So facts, logic, reason, reality. These aren't weapons that can be used against them. They just simply don't care. So you have to recognize that. You have to know who you're dealing with. So it's not an excuse. So you just simply have to enforce the law. Period. That's it. So what's this? Nick Sorter, the armed man who fought border. This is from yesterday. This is from January 24th. The armed man who fought Border Patrol and was subsequently shot this morning in Minneapolis has died. So I don't know. Is there riots going on? That's the guy. Yeah, I think we've all seen this now. He was on the ground. It's unclear exactly what happened. He was interfering with them. It looks like they were trying to arrest him. He was resisting arrest. There was like 4 of them that had him on the ground. He was still resisting. He had a gun. Apparently it got loose. The officer kicked it away, but then another officer shot. They heard one of the officers shouted, gun, right? Now everybody's on alert. And it sounds like it was kind of an accident. It was a misunderstanding, but the guy got shot and he died. And he'd be alive if he had just cooperated with police. So that's what happens. Let's see. A. Gene Robinson says, imagine the level of ideological capture required to stand shoulder to shoulder with 10,000 people in minus 30-degree weather, not to defend your own children, your own neighborhoods, your own wages, or your own sovereignty, but to protest on behalf of illegal criminal aliens who violated the law to enter the country and would never endure that cold, that sacrifice, or that risk for you. This is not compassion. That is inversion. Yeah, it's a kind of insanity, isn't it? And these people, what they're saying is that their country isn't real. Their laws aren't real. right? They're rejecting the notion of the United States. They're rejecting the notion of a sovereign country. Because what else does it mean? I mean, the only way to please these people would be to open the borders. Just open the borders. Anybody can come in. They do whatever they want. I mean, what else is it that they're protesting for? Right? Like, well, either you have federal. It's the same federal law that Obama had when he was deporting a million people. It's the same laws. Trump is enforcing these same laws. It was the same laws under Biden. These people are rejecting those laws, right? They're rejecting democratic processes. They're saying these are Bolsheviks. These are Bolsheviks. Everybody take a shot. These are Bolsheviks. They're saying, nope, we want to burn it down. That'd be the result. That'd be the result. These aren't just a bunch, like, you can't just look at these as a bunch of, as a bunch of misguided, well-meaning people. No, I'm afraid no. I'm afraid they're not. Right? The Bolsheviks in Russia were not a bunch of well-meaning people, bunch of nice, well-meaning people. I'm sorry. They were bad people. Bad people. This is not saying that every single person who votes for a left-wing party with Democrats or the Liberal Party in Canada, most of them are actually really nice people. Right? But there is a hardcore There's a hardcore base of people who just want to burn it down. They will. They want to break the world. Let's see. All right, let's move on from that. So let's get back to the chat. What are you guys talking about? La 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 la. Judo Survivor says this organized group, I think you're talking about the Signal group in Minneapolis. Organized group is a cautionary tale of giving people UBI. Idle hands are the devil's playground. Well, it makes you wonder, like, there's another issue entirely, a new issue, which humanity has not had to deal with in the same level. I mean, it's like a new industrial revolution with AI, but times a trillion. So there's a lot of, it's actually like white collar jobs that are at risk. There's a lot of those that are just going away and they're not going to come back, so, and then automation, then a lot of blue collar jobs will go through automation. So there's going to be, I mean, that's the real worry, is that the jobs won't be replaced and there's going to be a lot of idle hands. So we don't know what's, we can't really predict what the hell's going to happen. Let's see. All right. Steve Harding says, woke has turned everything to shit. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Mental Health says, my goal in life is to be offensive. I don't give a shit. Nor should you. Nor should you. Mental Health says, how far are you from WWE superstar Edge? I don't know who I think I've heard that name. I think so. I haven't watched WWE since I was a kid. So I don't know. Let's see. In any case, I'm in an undisclosed location, a bunker, as a matter of fact. Under 1/2 kilometer of ice. Judo Survivor says, is that an old video the state flag showed was the old one? Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people in Minnesota with the old non-Somali flag, Minnesota flag. Spambot says, I thought Mr. Snacks was barking at Temp on Tim. Maybe he was. I thought he was barking at the door. He does tend to get angry when people are outside living their lives. Doesn't like it. Does not approve. Rosie says the bee hits the nail every time, and I agree. Let's see. All right. I'm going to skip down the chat here. Let's see. Rosie says he would be alive if he cooperated, the guy in Minneapolis. He would be alive if he was proud to be an American. He would be alive if he stayed home. He was manipulated by power-hungry, evil people. Well, he could have gone out and held his sign and peacefully protested. He wasn't doing that. And that was his mistake, his last mistake. The thing is, I think the leftist strategy is like Hamas, right? They want their own people to get hurt and killed because it's good. They see it as good press for themselves. So they like it. They want it. I'm sure the leadership of these protest groups is intentionally spurring people on, unhinged people, to do things that will get them hurt, knowing that they'll get them hurt, like knowing that law enforcement has to protect itself, right? Knowing what's going to happen, right? I think they learned that from Hamas, right? They want their own to get hurt and killed for press, for propaganda purposes. Let's see. Spambot says, I say that ICE has been doing pretty good. Oh, that's the guy's name, right? Oh, dear. Actually, no. Oh, dear. Nevada says that guy was an idiot for bringing him on, but they're being spurred to do it, right? They want them to get killed. The leadership of that wants them to get killed because it gets on CNN, it gets on MSNBC, and it just kind of, they see it as good press, and it is for them. I mean, that sounds cynical and grim and macabre, but clearly that's what they want, right? Nobody is telling them. Like, is there anybody on the news? Is there anybody, any of the talking heads on CNN or MSNBC now, or any of them, or any of the governors? Is Tim Walz saying, don't do anything stupid, stand aside, don't impede? No, they're not. They're encouraging it. They want their own people to get killed. They're like Hamas. It's the same strategy. No, Noodles. No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not showing Noodles. We're watching volleyball now. Let's see. Spambot says, so why did Jeffrey Pretty delete his social media before he went out to protest? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't hear about that. Mental Health says, is Noodles a gorgeous Thai woman with the big boobies? Rosie? Yes, she is indeed. They're always clamoring, but it's too much. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Everybody knows that. Rosie, she is the one wearing a yellow top. I have a sort of faceplate. She does. So it's yeah. She recognizes her by the boobs. By the boobs. All right. Now what are we doing? Maybe if you guys are cool, if you guys can learn how to be cool for once, maybe I'll put on the noodles later. Maybe. Depends how cool you guys are. All right. So what do we have here? So let's see. So here is a truth from Donald Trump, from Truth Social. If Governor Carney thinks he's going to make Canada, maybe I should try and do the voice. If Governor Carney thinks I can't do it. If Governor Carney thinks he is going to make Canada a drop-off port for China to send goods and products into the United States, he is sorely mistaken. China will eat Canada alive, completely devour it, including the destruction of their businesses, social fabric, and general way of life. If Canada makes a deal with China, it will immediately be hit with a 100% tariff against all Canadian goods and products coming into the USA. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So Carney knew very well what he was doing. So he knew the EVs were going to be a problem. If he'd gone in and tried to work out some other deal, I don't know if there was one to be had. They keep talking about how China is our second biggest trading partner. It's 3.9% of our trade. Like it's not that big of a deal. The UK is 3.6. All right. But if it had just been that Carney went over and he figured something out to get the 100% tariffs off our agricultural products that China put on our agricultural products, which the media doesn't seem to think there's anything wrong with that. That's perfectly fine for some reason. But if you just got and cut some deal, right? Not mentioned anything about a new world order or strategic partnerships and security partnerships. I mean, for one thing, China has interfered in our last 3 elections. They have secret police stations, right? They're constantly spying on us and stealing our secrets. Like, aside from all of that, though, like if they just gone and just done a normal little thing, a little adjustment, right? And somehow got some relief for agriculture, for the farmers in the prairies. No big deal. Nobody would really care. Donald Trump's not going to care. But it's EVs, electric vehicles. That's a big no-no, not just with Trump, with Biden. If the Democrats get back into the White House the next election, it'll be a big problem for them too. As will the Online News Act, right? The Online Streaming Act and any other internet acts that they dream up. The digital sales tax, that one's already gone. So Carney knows what he's doing. He could have just gone and just done something simple, but it's all designed to be provocative. Right? He didn't just go and make a little deal. All of a sudden, it's partnerships and new world orders. He knows the U.S. is going to see that, obviously. Right? This is all part of Carney's plan. He does not want a deal. That's the thing. For his own purposes, whatever his own purposes are, he does not want a deal. He is not looking out for Canada's best interest, obviously. Obviously, in Canada, 80% of the trade, 80% of our exports go to the States. That's not going to change. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and Canada's going to be in a different place in the world. And thank God, what a favorable place. It's the most favorable position in terms of geography you could hope for, right next to the United States. So it's all, this is what Carney wants, right? 100% tariffs against all Canadians. He can use this to run against Trump again in maybe a spring or summer election. But I think it's deeper than that. I think it has to do with his net zero finance, because Trump's not having any of that. And I think it's got something to do with that. All right. You don't need to like Trump's 51st state jokes, and I didn't. And I didn't like them at the time. I said they were counterproductive. I didn't understand why he would do that. It didn't seem to make any sense. Canada, it's a different story than the other countries in the world. But you don't need to like Trump's 51st state jokes to realize that China has been way more hostile towards Canada than Trump ever has been. Trump has not interfered in any Canadian elections, right? Trump is not spying on us, right? There are no secret U.S. police stations in the United States. Communist China interferes in our elections, places bounties on Canadians' heads. That's right. They actually put bounties on, well, a Canadian Conservative Party MP had a bounty put on his head by the Chinese consulate. And there's a whole story around that we won't get into right now. Sets up secret police stations on our soil, kidnaps our citizens, the two Michaels, steals our tech, tariffs our goods. Why are the Carney liberals moving towards China? It's not for the well-being of Canadians. It's for the well-being of Mark Carney. Donald Trump made some 51st state jokes. Also, tariffs our goods. Yeah. There's been so little common sense brought into this conversation. We're not even, it's like, it's obvious that no matter what Carney says, when we wake up the next day, we will be in the same position and we will have the same options. That's not going to change. No idiotic, cynical speech from Carney is going to change that. Right? If we don't sort out our relationship with the states, it is going to be economically catastrophic for us, because nobody else is going to make up that trade. The middle powers that Carney's talking about leading in some rebellion against the states, they're also protectionist. They're also protectionist when it comes to trade. Was the whole point of Trump's tariff explosion. right? Not fair. They're going to open their markets up to us. I doubt it very much. The second biggest trading partner we have is China, 3.9%. Third, UK with 3.6. I think the next is Japan with like 2%, or no, it's Mexico, I think, with 2%, Japan with 1%. Like, the idea that we're going to replace even 20% of our trade with the States is a fantasy. That's delusional. No matter what Rosemary Barton's teleprompter tells us, no matter what speech Mark Carney makes in front of the world, we're going to wake up the next day in the same position with the same options. And it won't get dealt with until we have a leader who is actually concerned with the well-being of Canadians. All right. Shut up. I'm not doing noodles. Shut up. Nope, shut up. What do we got going here? Let's see. Martin Poilievre. No, you guys, the more you guys write noodles in the chat, the less noodles you're getting. Okay, I was going to give you a big bowl of noodles. And you know what? That just went down to a medium-sized bowl of noodles. Okay, I'm Trump now, okay? I'm Trump. I'm carrying the big stick here. Telling you, you guys keep it up. You guys keep it up. In fact, I might even ban noodles. You can't bully me. No, I'm in control. I'm in power. Jeez, you guys are like fanatics. What is happening? You guys have all lost your minds. Spambot says, I don't need noodles. Finally, somebody with an iota of common sense around here. All right. I think Todd Howell wants to have a word with you guys. I think Todd Howell wants to have a word with you guys.
It's how you adapt and handle adversity. And when things aren't going well, that's the time where victory is there.
Yeah, and Todd Howell is right. Stop writing noodles in the chat. He's right. I think he makes a lot of sense. He's always right. I'm warning you guys, this is not going to end well. This is not going to end well. Spambot likes the volleyball girls. Well, you know what? That's fantastic. We've got somebody with a bit of common sense in the chat. Nice to see. Mental Health says, Richie, we lost our minds years ago. Years ago. Richie, we lost our minds years ago. I know you did. That's why I love you guys. Holy jeez. Rosie, we need a Todd Howell emoji. Oh my God. You're right. I got to write it down. I think I can do it. Let's see. Todd. 2 Ds. Howell. Emoji. I think I could do it. I think I remember how to do it. Rosie says, Richie, we are keyboard warriors. And you certainly are. I'm seeing JJ's still doing noodles. Hey, stop that. Stop it. Aussie quote, of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most. Or as Aussie says it, let's see. Oh, God damn it. Damn it, Rosie. That was an authentic damn it, Rosie. I'm not kidding around. Okay. Just move on. Don't look at the chat. No, we're just moving on with our show. We've got a show to do. We've got Besant right here. Right? Everybody wants to see that. They're more interested in that. Martin Poilievre, when Besant speaks, we should listen. Canada in for a world of hurt just so we can feel better about ourselves for taking on Trump. And so Carney can secure his majority. I don't know that he's going to get a majority. I think if there's election in the spring, I think it's 50-50 who wins, to be honest. I think it's 50-50. I'm not sure. If the Conservatives win, I don't expect a majority for them either. If the Liberals did win, I would expect another minority. In fact, they may not do as well just because the NDP will have a new leader by then and they'll be reinvigorated. So That will take votes away. Let's take a look at Scott Bessant here.
Some industry-specific tariffs on Chinese goods, and we have a highly integrated market with Canada, sometimes in autos, which he dropped the EV tariff, I believe, from 100% to 6%. The goods can cross the border during the manufacturing process 6 times, and we can't let Canada become an opening that the Chinese pour their cheap goods into the U.S. We have a USMCA agreement, but based on that, which is going to be renegotiated this summer, and I'm not sure what Prime Minister Carney is doing here, other than trying to virtue signal to his globalist friends at Davos. I don't think he's doing the best job for the Canadian people.
He's not. He's doing the best job for Mark Carney. Now, you're starting to see almost a befuddlement, I think, from people like Bessant or Lutnick, or just serious analysts. And it's like, that Trump always does this, right? He always starts the same way. He always starts his negotiations the same way. He tries to kind of destabilize the other side with, grand statements. And he comes out, shock and awe. And then he always settles back and he finds something reasonable and usually gets a bit more than he wanted. And that's why he does that. It's like it's the worst hidden secret in the world. Everybody knows this, apparently, except for liberal voters in Canada and Mark Carney. Mark Carney, of course, knows it as well, right? Which is why I'm convinced he's trying to sabotage this. Trump's strategy only works, though, if the other side actually cares about their own country. That actually cares about not collapsing their country's economy. Carney doesn't care. Right? That's the thing. That's what's confusing about this. Carney doesn't care. And so that's why I think they're all a bit befuddled. It's like, well, no, he knows what's happening, right? Like Carney understands, like, this is how the negotiations always go, right? No, yeah, Carney knows, but his goals are different. These are not, he's not acting rationally within that game. So this is the problem. I don't think enough Canadians don't seem to understand it. They're not getting it. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Did we have anything else here? So here is Mark Carney responding to Trump's threat of 100% tariffs. What does he have to say?
How are you responding to Trump's threats of 100% tariffs?
Well, the first thing is that Canada respects our engagements, our commitments. Il y a des engagements dans l'ACM. We have commitments under CUSMA that not to pursue free trade agreements with non-market economies without prior notification. We have no intention of doing that with China or any other non-market economy. What we've done with China is to rectify some issues that developed in the last couple of years. In many respects, we're going, to use the expression, back to the future with respect to EVs, with respect to agriculture, with respect to fish products and other food products, but with additional protections. So, for example, back in 2023, we didn't have a cap on the number of EVs. We didn't have a requirement for a large proportion of those EVs to be affordable, highly affordable EVs for Canadians. So it's entirely consistent with CUSMA, with our obligations, which we very much respect under CUSMA and will continue to work that way forward.
The thing is, he must know this. None of these conversations happen if he doesn't sit down in China and utter the words New World Order. Right? If he doesn't utter the words strategic alliance, security alliance in China, this conversation doesn't happen. I mean, look, in fairness, this isn't a free trade deal with China that he's doing, right? A free trade deal, I think most people would say it's something much more comprehensive, right? Like what we have with the States, where it's 85% of our goods, even still now, are untariffed heading into the United States. That's really what we would think of as a free trade deal. This isn't that. But the reason there's the threat of the 100% tariffs, this is all coming right after the WEF speech, after Carney's nonsensical and impotent attack on the United States, on Trump, right? Without that, this conversation isn't happening. So, and I don't think that Carney is really surprised. I mean, he's clearly got a plan, and it's not a plan that is concerned at all with the Canadian economy or Canadians. It's a different plan. It's concerned with him and his goals, his global finance goals, his global net zero finance goals. All right. So Trump just posted this. Eric Doherty posted this. Trump posted this. A much-watched Canada is systematically destroying itself. The China deal is a disaster for them, will go down as one of the worst deals of any kind in history. All their businesses are moving to the USA. Well, that Trump wanted that, by the way. He wanted that big time. That is why Trump endorsed Mark Carney. Trump told Canadians to vote for Mark Carney, and then they dutifully followed his directions to spite him somehow. I don't know. But he knew what Mark, he's actually known Mark Carney for a long time. He knows what he is. He knows he's a net zero guy. He knows he's a guy who's going to be bad for Canadian industry. He knows that he's going to be bad for Canadian business. And that way, if Mark Carney is in power, it's more likely that Canadian businesses will flood south to escape his policies than if Pierre Poilievre is prime minister. That's why he endorsed it. Obviously, why he endorsed Mark Carney. But in any case, all their businesses are moving to the USA. I want to see Canada survive and thrive. President Donald J. Trump. So let's take a look at this. And you can see here, that is Premier Doug Ford as you can see here, that's Premier Doug Ford of Ontario standing right behind this guy. He's not happy with Carney either over the EVs.
Oh, good morning. My name is Brian Kingston. I'm the president and CEO of the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association. Canada's auto industry is under enormous pressure, with over 90% of Canadian production destined for the United States. There is no industry without U.S. access and North American integration. Diversification is not an option for automotive, as markets in Europe and Asia are better served by assembly plants in those regions. Canada's market alone is too small to justify large-scale manufacturing. The future of Canada's auto industry and the hundreds of thousands of jobs that it supports depends on securing our trade relationship with the United States. The federal government's decision to open the Canadian market to Chinese EVs is deeply concerning. The Canada-China strategic partnership has the potential to undermine Canada's auto sector and presents risk to the future of our integrated North American automotive supply chain. As the Premier has outlined, it is critical that the federal government rectifies this situation by taking immediate action to bolster the competitiveness of the very companies that have been building cars and employing Canadians for over 100 years. Step one is repealing the costly and redundant EV sales mandate. Under the new Canada-China strategic partnership, Chinese manufacturers that do not build cars in Canada or employ Canadians will receive up to $980 million per year in compliance credits. These compliance credits will be paid for by the very companies that operate here, taking money that could be reinvested in Canada, in Ontario, and sending it to China. Step two is taking action to make Canada more competitive for auto. We must urgently lower the cost of investing in plants, machinery, and R&D to give Canada an edge over other jurisdictions. The future of Canada's auto industry hangs in the balance. The actions that we take now will determine whether or not we have an industry for 100 more years.
Well, Carney wants to bring in his EV mandate as soon as possible. If he gets a majority government, the EV mandate will come in. It'll be the first thing that he does, right? Trying to force Canadians to be all electric cars by 2035, which is insane. But obviously, cheap Chinese cars would help him with that goal. This is crazy. This is crazy. Carney is not looking out for the interest of Canadians. Carney's looking out for himself and for his global net zero finance goals. Clearly, that's what's happening. Carney campaigned on being the guy who would get a deal with Trump by July. Clearly, at this point, he lied. He had no intention of doing that, and he's been sabotaging it all along the way. Why did he declare support for a Palestinian state while Trump was negotiating a peace deal? Right? So Carney announces that 3 days later that Trump announces a peace deal there, right? And end to the hostilities. Why did Carney Doug Ford writing that idiotic Reagan ad down in the States against Trump? Any sane person could have guessed what the response would be. Why would Carney get up at the WEF and make that speech? Clearly, he lied during the election, okay, and he does not want a deal, and he's sabotaging one. He's willing to sabotage it all. The whole Kuzma agreement, the USMCA, he's willing to sacrifice it all, and it's not for you. It's not for Canadians. It's for him and his buddies. All right. Let's see. What's this? Here's another post from Trump. The last thing the world needs is to have China take over Canada. It's not going to happen or even come close to happening. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald Trump. It's total. Who posted this? The Pleb reporter posted it. I'm Canadian and I agree with Trump on this. Letting China take over Canada is the biggest mistake our country has ever made. Well, I wouldn't say it's taken over Canada yet, but Canada is deeply influenced by China now and deeply infiltrated by China now, obviously. The Chinese government interfered not only in the last 3 elections, but in the liberal leadership race itself to Mark Carney's benefit. Okay. China got their man in Mark Carney. Quite obviously, this is not going to work out well for Canada. Being stuck between these two. We know where the road to prosperity leads. It doesn't lead to Beijing, right? You can't have a road to Beijing. It's ocean. We know where the road to prosperity leads. It leads to Washington. Any sensible leader would just work that out. Would just work it out. Obviously, the United States is not going to allow Canada to become a Chinese satellite state. Obviously. There's one way this can go. And it can go the easy way or the hard way. That's just reality. It's surreal what's become of this country and the people in it. How about this? CBC Watcher posted this. For all the great press about Carney's wonderful Davos speech, they ignore the negative reviews from his European central banking peers in Davos. The same ones who made sure that Trump got his Greenland deal before he went home, even after Carney's speech. Crazy. All right.
So I want to start, if I could, with Madame Lagarde, and this is where I want to go with this, if I could, because I think we're all trying to figure out what we just saw. I think there was a lot of whiplash throughout the week, and we heard a couple of different perspectives. One of which came from the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, who said, "Every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. Let me be direct," he said. "We are in the midst of a rupture."
Just that one part, by the way, I don't think I've gotten to it yet. The weak must suffer what they must. Okay. Canada has been suffering for 10 years because of the Liberal government. Canada's problems are not because of Trump. Canada's problems are because of Canada, because of who we have elected. Okay? That's where Canada's problems come from. That's why we have no room for error. When the tariff thing hit, we have no room for error, right? We're already $1.5 trillion in debt because of Trudeau, right? Massive deficits. No, it's not. It's not Trump, and we haven't suffered. Canada has been one of the most prosperous and best countries in the world for decades, until the last decade, until the globalists took over, essentially, until the World Economic Forum took over, until Klaus Schwab penetrated 50% of Trudeau's cabinet, right? We haven't been suffering. We hadn't been suffering. And we're not suffering because of the United States. I mean, it's baffling to me. It's enraging. People clapping and applauding, and Carney's brilliant speech. He's so articulate. No, it's all bullshit. It's insanity. It's a trick. It's gaslighting. You fools. You fucking fools. Do you want to be poor? Do you want to have a failing country? Keep voting for liberals. Keep voting for radical leftists, then, if that's what you want. Because of feelings, because it feels good, because Rosemary Barton's teleprompter fucking told you to. I keep waiting for reality to assert itself. I'm still waiting, reality. Please, I'm waiting. I've been waiting very patiently. Well, maybe not so patiently, but you know what I mean. All right. We'll be getting back to the chat soon, and I better not be seeing a bunch of noodles written in there. I'll tell you right now, or else it's going to be hell to pay. All right, so that's it. Let's sit on that one. Go back to the chat. Let's see. All right. Okay, there seems to be some reasonable stuff in the chat now. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie's talking about the weather again. You see, Nevada's talking about the weather. You guys are talking about the weather again. Mental Health says Canada is to blame for Canada's problems. Correct. Yes. Let's see. JDL, how you doing? Hope you're feeling well. Says Xi and Putin never talk about pronouns. They don't, actually. They don't. God damn it, Rosie. No. Rosie gets nothing. No noodles. Absolutely not. All right. Goddamn noodles. Patience, people. RPW, how you doing? Xi may be using Carney to get a better trade deal with Trump. Well, I think you're probably right there, actually. That will be a part of it. Canada's role in any other so-called alliance is to be a bargaining chip. I think you're quite right. And I've talked in the past about how, this talk of Canada joining the EU. Hello, we're not in Europe. But Carney's talking about how Canada's the most European of the non-European countries. I think if Carney gets a majority, by the way, he'll make a big push to try and get Canada into that crumbling, failing edifice that is the EU, to get us into a suicide pact with the EU, by the way. But all Canada ever would have been with the EU was a bargaining chip against the United States. And that's what, in fact, you're absolutely right. Yeah, they'll use Canada as a bargaining chip. That's it. That's what we'll be reduced to. Let's see. No, what else we got? Talking about the weather. God damn it. Now I've got no choice. Nevada, come on. That ruins it for me for the clip videos, right? If the whole chat is just noodles on the side, that ruins it. I can't clip that then for a clip video. You understand that, right? So that's a whole bunch of wasted time there. God damn it. And I can't stay mad at Rosie because guess what? Rosie did a Rumble rant. So, all right, here we go. All right, so Rosie is now forgiven, of course, and she is forgiven because she gave me money, and that makes her the best person ever. Best person ever. You may have the people you admire, you may have your idols. Sorry to tell you, all human garbage compared to Rosie. Best person ever. Here we go. What is going on with this noodle stuff? You're like terrorists. You guys are like ISIS, but like chat ISIS. God damn it. You guys are obsessed. JDL says EU hates Europe and Europeans. Yes, they do. I guess probably Carney probably hates Canadians too. So Rosie's cool, but everybody else writing noodles in there. Hold on. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, everybody else, guess what?
Right to jail, right away.
If I was emperor of the world right now, yeah, all to jail. JJ, you'd be in prison, right? There'd be somebody knocking on your door. Forget knocking on the door. Kicking the door down. Dragging you away. Haul you in front of a public tribunal. Judge would say, how do you like noodles now, asshole? That's what would happen. And I'm not kidding. I would do it. I am a piece. I am a tyrant in the waiting. Believe me. I thought we were all friends. I thought we were all friends. So you don't know people. Think you know people, you don't know them. Let's see. All right. Now what do we do? Jesus, all this noodle. You know what it's like when you guys do that, the noodles thing? You know what it's like? That's like you're being Mark Carney. And I am Trump in this situation, by the way. And you're Mark Carney. How does that feel? How does it feel now? Let's see. JM, how you doing? Trump must invoke the Insurrection Act. These are not protests. These are subversive attempts to undermine our society. It's organized now. These are just full-on Bolsheviks at this point, right? It's an organized insurrection, clearly. I mean, like, what else do you call it? Right? There are groups. They have training, right? They're being funded. They're not being funded to go and stand around peacefully with signs, right? Signs that have been mass printed. No, they're actively trying to subvert the government. Trump seems like it would be wise for Trump to do something about that. Nevada says, let's see, Commie Carney just needs some. God damn it, JJ. God damn it. Let's see. Metal Elf says, what's up with the betas behind him? It's all of them. Let's see. Let's see. I don't even want to read the chat now. All this noodle fucking bullshit. Let's see. Metal Elf says it was Howard Lutnick who nuked Al Gore. It was. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Rosie says, we are friends. I did not realize we made everything unclip worthy. That is that. Well, I had to tell you guys, real friends tell friends the truth. All right. Let's see. What? No, not going there. Let's see. You know what, Nevada? I'm going to erase the noodles from the bookmark. That's what's going to happen. Is that what you want to happen? Because that's going to happen. All right. All right. Well, Rosie did pay, so I got to show the damn noodles now. And I like the noodles anyway. All right, let me look for them. It's going to take a couple of minutes. X. You guys are monsters. Let's see. Where is it? Rosie did pay, so I guess I do got to show them. I'll show noodles out of spite, although I do like the noodles. I find it very meditative. Let's see. Where is it? Cooking shows. There we go. Okay, is everybody ready? We got it racked up. JJ, we got it racked up. The noodles are coming. No more need to type noodle this or noodle that or noodles. Is everybody ready? Here it comes.
So the word on the street is Todd Howell, 30 years at Channel 10. Do you know how hard that is to believe? I just can't wrap my head around it, as we say in the business. But it's been a great 30 years. I can remember like it was yesterday when Todd Howell gave his first weather forecast and said, up here in Texas, I finally figured out where Texas was. So, but I thought maybe this isn't for him. But turns out it was.
So what is the lesson there? It's about perseverance. That was a test for you guys. Would you give up on asking for the noodles? Would you give up? If I berated you, I wanted to see if I could make you quit. Just how much did you want those noodles? How much did you want them? It was a test. And you know what, people? You passed. You passed. Nice work, people. Nice work. All right. You didn't let yourself get ground down. You didn't get up. You didn't give up. You kept fighting for what you believed in. You kept fighting. JJ, you kept fighting. I'm proud of you, man. Rosie, I'm proud of you. That's what Todd Howell is for. He's for those moments. All right. Now, no more noodles in the chat, for fuck's sakes. All right. We'll keep this on for a little bit. Let me see if there's anything that makes any sense in the chat. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Why does he bogart those noodles? The only time I ever see the noodles is when you guys see them. That's the only time. Well, I guys sit around here staring at the noodles all the time. Let's see. Mental Health says President Trump's one of the smartest people on the planet. He just dumbs things down for the mainstream media. It's true. So every person that you talk to, including people like Bill Maher, say that the public Trump is a very different person from the private Trump. So the private Trump is totally different. He listens. He's smart. He says that he wishes that he could have more of that Trump that he met when he went and had dinner with them, and not instead of the one that he sees on the TV. He has a plan. He has a strategy. He has tactics that he uses. Everybody knows. Even Mark Carney knows. He's just pretending not to know for political reasons. Let's see. What's going on? Did Rosie give me more money? Jesus. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you. Money makes everything better. All right. Guess what, people? Guess what? Somebody's better than you. That's right. Somebody's better than you, and that person is Rosie. Sure, you've got your heroes. Sorry to tell you this. All dog shit in comparison. Rosie's number one. Best person ever. Appealing to my greed is always the answer. Izzy asks, how you doing, Izzy? Todd Howell makes noodles too. I bet she makes the best noodles. Maybe not quite as good as Noodle Lady, but probably pretty good. I mean, he is Todd Howell.
An absolute legend.
An absolute legend is correct. Mental Health says, you ain't right, Richie, but we love you anyway. Well, you guys ain't right either, but I also love you guys. All right. What do we got next? Let's see. Let's see. What is Seldoon? I don't understand what that is. Let's see. Nevada says, I bet you watch Noodles all day long, and I bet you watch Noodles all day long, and that's why you don't care about seeing them now. I don't watch them all day long. I don't. I have other things to do. I have a life going on. Jay Nevada says, Noodles make the world go round. So, I don't know. They're pretty good. I like it. I find it extremely meditative and calming. Soothing, actually. Now what's going on? All right, let's just move on from the chat. The chat has been a shit show tonight. It's been just fucked up beyond all belief. All right, let's move on. You guys have got what you wanted now. No need to do the noodle thing in the chat anymore. Okay, the noodle thing. No more. No need for that anymore. We're past that now. We've got to a new part of the show. All right, so let's keep it cool and respectful from now on. You fucking weirdos. I'm losing it tonight. I used to be like a normal person until I started doing this. Until I was exposed to the world. Ruined everything for me. Anyway, just kidding. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. All right, now what are we doing? All right, let's move on. So, Mental Health says, looking at beautiful boobs is calming. I should have just put them on right at the beginning. I got to be honest. All right. So CBC Watcher posted this. Here's Nick Nano's pollster in Canada. I think there's probably a good chance that the Liberals might want an election this year. So a lot of Mark Carney's theatrics are obviously politically motivated because he wants to get a majority government so he'll have a free hand in looting Canada and the Canadian economy for his net zero buddies and for himself. Let's take a look.
I think there's probably a good chance that the Liberals might want an election this year. The thing is that the trade talks are not going very well. And when we do have a trade agreement, whenever that might be, it's probably not going to be as good as our current arrangement. And defending a trade agreement that's not as good would be difficult for any government. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Liberals want to get ahead of that and also get ahead of the midterm elections in the United States in order to try to build a stronger mandate in the House of Commons.
Okay, Nick, thank you so much for your insights as always. And stay.
It's kind of insane, the idea. I mean, this is how messed up Canada is, right? So you can have a guy who campaigned in April that he was the man who knew how to deal with men like Trump, and he knew how the world works, and he is the guy to get a deal with Trump, to get a tariff deal and a trade deal with Trump. He was the man, and he's going to have one by July. Well, nothing, and all he's done is sabotage the whole process, and he could run a year later. If there's a spring election, that'd be a year. He could run a year later with the hopes or expectations of having a better result than the first time he was elected, even though he has accomplished absolutely nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. He's done nothing. Nothing of nothing that will have any real positive effect on Canada or the Canadian economy. In fact, the tariffs are worse now than when he got in. So he's actually made it worse. He's doubled the deficit that was planned under Trudeau. Under Trudeau. He's twice as bad as Trudeau. It's amazing. It tells you not good things about Canada, that this is a guy you could expect to get a majority in the spring. Now, I don't think that he would personally, but who knows? Canada is a pretty messed up country. So, who knows? But yeah, I'm expecting we'll probably get an election spring, summer, I think. All right, what else do we got here? We don't need this. Let's move on. Here's Pierre Poilievre. Cat Canada posted this. We still live next door to the biggest economy, the biggest. Poilievre here is responding. Here's from Cat Canada. Poilievre is responding to Mark Carney in his speech at Davos, and I think he's bringing things down to earth here. So he's attempting here to remind Canadians of reality, right? And where the road to prosperity really leads at the end of the day. For all of the fanciful speeches in the world, for all of the fanciful Mark Carney speeches in the world, there is a basic reality that we have to hew to. Let's take a look.
But here's the reality. We still live next door to the biggest economy and military the world has ever seen. We sell 20 times more to the U.S. than we do to China. 1 in 10 Canadian jobs rely directly or indirectly on trade with America. We owe it to those workers, our friends, family, and fellow Canadians to ensure those jobs don't go away. Growing and diversifying our economy is essential, as all political parties have been saying for decades. But we must also remember that our trade and security partnership with the U.S. is centuries old and will outlast one president. To quote the British Liberal Prime Minister, Lord Palmerston, we have no eternal allies and we have no perpetual enemies. Our interests are eternal and perpetual, and those interests it is our duty to follow. But here's the...
So, this relationship will outlast one president. Okay, you know what? That's actual pragmatism. That's realism. That's just being real. That's just leveling with the Canadian people. We could use an infinite amount of that right now. Right? We don't need fanciful WF speeches. We don't need fanciful World Economic Forum speeches. We don't need that, right? We just need some pragmatism, some common sense, some realism, okay? These are the facts on the ground, okay? We all woke up the morning after Carney's speech, and Canada was still right next to the United States. It still had all those roads, railway lines, pipelines. You get it, right? It's perfect for trade, right? We're still in the same place. We still have an ocean on one side, another ocean on the other side, and a frozen wasteland to the north. Okay, this is reality. And it doesn't matter how many speeches Carney gives, right? We're going to wake up the next day and we'll still be in the same place dealing with these same economic realities. So, will this message resonate with enough Canadians? Will this kind of message, this kind of pragmatism, this kind of realism resonate with enough Canadians in the next election? We will have to see. I certainly hope so. All right. Now that was perfect for a clip. Perfect. All right. And I will thank you for not writing the word noodles in the chat endlessly while I was saying it. Thank you. All right. Don't think we need anything. All right, that's good for there. We'll get to meme reviews next, but let's go back to the chat. Let's see what's happening. Is the chat more sane now? Let's see. Let's see. Mental Health says, I'm proud to be a weirdo. Well, there's something wrong with all of us, or we wouldn't be here, would we? Let's see. Izzy says, the normies all seem to be commies these days at 100%. Let's see. Mental Health 74. Everything Mark Carney does is politically motivated. Yes. Yes. This is the point I've been trying to get across. 100%. Well, it's politically motivated, but for his own personal, like real world financial goals, right? Let's see. Let's Let's see. JDL says Pierre should have done Rogan. Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt him at all. It would have been good for him. He absolutely should have done Rogan. I agree. The next election, I hope he does. He was invited by Rogan and he didn't do it. He had nothing to lose. The people who would have been mad at him for going on Rogan were never going to vote for him in the first place. The only thing that would have happened is that some more young voters would have been motivated to go out and actually vote. Voters who didn't vote would have been motivated to. Would it have been enough? Probably not, but it still would have been better, and they're more likely to vote the next election that way. JDL says the midterms are in doubt now. I'm hearing bad things about the midterms, and yeah, if the Republicans lose the midterms, well, that's it. Show's over. Let's see. Mental Health says Trudeau was an idiot. Mark Carney is a window licker. Well, Trudeau was, it looks increasingly like Trudeau was Mark Carney's protege or maybe his puppet. Mark Carney had been advising Trudeau since 2020. You can go back and look at the Globe and Mail or Toronto Star. I mean, there's articles on celebrating Mark Carney coming in as an advisor for Trudeau. Yeah, Trudeau was an idiot. Clearly, when you start reading Mark Carney's book, immediately you realize that Trudeau was just doing what he was told by Mark Carney. Let's see. As he says, destroying our relations with the U.S. over Trump is stupid. It's very stupid. And it's only going to end one way, by the way. We're not going to win, right? Like it's most people in the United States don't even know that there's some trade war with Canada right now. These are Canadians don't understand that. Let's see. JDL says TDS is a mental disorder. It's true. Izzy says common sense went extinct years ago. That's totally true. Bilal says you should drink some lemon tea with honey for that throat tickle. Richie, I'm allergic to honey, so not gonna happen. Let's see. Rosie says, be right back, going to cover gardenias. Okay, very good. Very responsible. Let's see. JJ says, Richie, not my fault. Too much ranch juice. I'm switching to hot chocolate now. Well, thank God. And enjoy the chicken pot pie. Enjoy that chicken pot pie. Let's see. All right. Should we get to memes, everyone? Let's get to memes. Let's do it. All right. Anti-left memes. Perfect. Why are the people who say they hate Nazis doing the most Nazi things right now? Let's see. Why would that be? Let's see. Well, they're leftists. Let's see. What did Nazi stand for again? Let's see. National Socialist. Socialist? Well, that's a leftist thing. National Socialist. So is it like the Nazis were just kind of like a sister ideology to like communists? Because when you think about it, they're both collectivists. It's still both everything for the state. Seems like they are leftists. Is that why it's so natural for them? Let's see. Why is the left invading churches? Let's see. I think we know. I think we've made up our mind on this, haven't we? All right. Man of memes, it checks out. Let's see. He was responsible for the deaths of 80 million people and attempted to exterminate an entire race of people. There's Adolf Hitler there. And here's Donald Trump. Well, what did he do? Let's see. He lowered your taxes and hurt your feelings. Knock it off. You look stupid. Well, I think you should also say, too, that he's enforcing pre-existing immigration law. So that's not exactly, I mean, I don't think that puts you in the same league as Hitler either. I mean, doing the same thing that like Obama did, and even Biden did to a small extent. I mean, Biden was also just essentially opening up the border, but he did deport some of those people, few of them. So yeah, I wouldn't say just enforcing the same laws that Obama, liberal Jesus enforced. I'm pretty sure that doesn't put you in the same league as Hitler. So yeah, knock it off. You look stupid, 100%. What's this? How to eat a popsicle in a room full of men. Correct. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Let's see. Declaration of memes. George Orwell understood. It was always the women, and above all the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies and nosers out of unorthodoxy. George Orwell, 1984. There is something to this, right? Well, women are more agreeable in general. Men are less agreeable in general. So men are more likely to kind of stake out their own path. The lone wolf idea. They're less likely to just agree with other people to be part of the group. Women are much more likely to just agree with everybody around them just to fit in, right? So if the dominant ideology is leftist, which is a feminine ideology. Leftism is a very feminine ideology, right? It's about feelings above all. So it's only natural, right? That they would be in the party if that's the culture, right? If it's Ingsoc, if it's the party from 1984, women would be the most bigoted adherents of that party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies and nosers out of unorthodoxy. That's what we really see an emphasis on these days, right? They're really the ones, they are really the woke police. They are the main woke police. We call them woke Karens, right? We even have a special name for them. It's unfortunate. Let's see. She lied. There is no Netflix. It's just boobs. Man. Let's see. Marty up north posted this one. Fact check true. Well, what's going on here? Breaking massive lineups reported across the country. Vancouver, safe injection site. Big lineups there. Toronto, food bank. Big lineups there. Alberta, pending petition signing. Alberta independence. You're seeing some big lines out there. There is a fundamental truth in this. There is. This is what a lot of Albertans are getting very excited about. Signing the petition to have a referendum to vote on whether they will be an independent country. Right? And all the other lines that's, outside of Alberta, safe injection site, food bank. There's definitely a seed of truth here. Let's see. Timothy Phillips posted this. PM Mark Carney meeting up with Xi to discuss ways of screwing the Canadian people out of their future. That's exactly what's happening. There is no path to prosperity for Canada this way. This is the path, the EV part of his trade deal, Mark Carney's trade deal, that's just to get China a foothold in Canada. Everybody else sees that. The United States certainly sees that. Utter and total foolishness. What's going on here? Betty posted this. Mom always said, work until your bank account looks like a phone number. Mom, I made it. Available balance, $9.11. 911. Sad but true. Let's see. Dutch. Now that's funny. So that's a Temu warehouse there. A 57,000 square foot Temu warehouse in China went up in flames today. The total loss of inventory has been estimated to be as high as $56.19. True. Let's see. Elon Musk. It's easy to tell who the bad guys are. So Elon Musk posted this. It's easy to tell who the bad guys are. Rothmus. Let's see. If you want to know who the bad guys are, it's the side who wants you arrested for memes and jokes. Well, the dystopia is now. If you're in the UK, if you're in the EU, the dystopia is now. Like, nobody needs to write a novel about it. It's now. Like, they don't need to imagine what it will be like. It's happening to them right now. As hard as that is to believe, I mean, it's I find it surreal. It's like alternate universe stuff, but it's true. All right. What's going on here? So let's see. Hatton American is back. The number 2 guy in line sure looks familiar. It's Zelensky. What says $100,000 for every Greenlander? Why is Zelensky there? Oh, there's Trump handing out the money. There's Zelensky. He just gets the money any way he can, right? He's always got his eye out. That's what he's good at. Just getting money. Give me money. All right. That's it. That's all the memes. All right. Crazy times. All right. Let's go back to the chat. I'm feeling lazy. I wonder if there's any super fun ads I can read. Let's see. I guess there's not much. Nah, screw it. I don't want to read an ad. Rosie says, women are usually easier to accept a lie and to be manipulated. Evidence, quote, he only hits me when I deserve it. Men can be abused and manipulated too. It is less often and more difficult. Well, that's the thing, right? So you're only talking about averages, like the mean, right? Like there's a bell curve for everything. And yeah, there are women that are more aggressive than some men, but men on average are more aggressive than women. They're more disagreeable than women. There are some women that are more disagreeable than some men, but these are the extremes on either side of that bell curve, right? So the average tells you the truth. The exceptions, don't matter. Yeah, it's totally right, Rosie. Danny, how you doing? Happy Sunday to you. Let's see. Let me go back in the chat a little bit. RPW says Dems are losing their voters. Trump's deporting them. Thing is, look what happened in Virginia, right? So everything Youngkin did, gone overnight. Just gone. They just erased everything. If the Democrats get back into power, if they hold total power, they'll never let go again, I don't think. They'll bring in, not 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. They'll pack the Supreme Court, and then they can just do whatever they want, right? It's just full on mail-in voting, only mail-in voting, no ID, no signature check. I think if the Dems get back in, there'll also be just everybody from this administration will end up in prison. They're saying they're going to do that already, right? I think that the next time they get power, I don't think they'll let go. I really don't think so. It's scary. Mental Health says the liberals can't meme because they are the meme. True. See, the thing is, when you're super uptight, when you're super woke and you're looking, and the woke are constantly policing each other, right? For politically incorrect statements or words. So when you're living in that kind of paranoia, where you have to be constantly censoring yourself and constantly careful of what you say, because somebody somewhere is going to be offended by what you said, even if it makes no sense. For the left, intent doesn't matter anymore, right? It doesn't matter if you said something intending to offend somebody, or even if somebody's offended just for totally irrational reasons. It doesn't even make sense. Doesn't matter. They're offended. They're right. Oppressed oppressor narrative. Oppressed always wins. It's hard to be funny in that environment, right? Because you have such a narrow bandwidth of what you could make fun of. So it's it's not a surprise the left can't meme, right? They've got this narrow little bandwidth of this stereotype of a Trump supporter, and that's it. Nothing else. So yeah, it's not a surprise. Mental Health says under Biden, the border was more wide open than a hooker's legs. Izzy says hurt feelings is all the left understands these days. Feelings. Somebody should write a song about feelings, I think. Should be a leftist writing that song. Let's see. Izzy says, I'm sure there's nothing to all the negative stereotypes suggesting women are corruptible. Well, everybody's corruptible, right? But it is true. Like, psychologists won't argue, like, women are more agreeable than men are, right? And you can call that corruptible. Maybe it is. There's a reason, though, that wokeism seems to be dominated by women. Uh, JDL says Zelensky will move to Hollywood or Florida. Well, he's got a big mansion in Florida, doesn't he? I believe he does. Let's see. Izzy says he's got to help defend Greenland. Let's see. Apparently nobody's really listening to him anymore. He showed up at the World Economic Forum and nobody paid any attention. But all says Zelensky's there for his blow money. Let's see. Izzy says they've been cheating in elections for decades already. Well, look, the measures they take don't seem to serve any other function than corruption. Right? It's not election integrity. Everything they do is to undermine election integrity, and they're doing it for a reason. Right? Like, other countries look at it and they're like, what? Like, think about France. Think about, like, woke left-wing France, right? No, they have paper ballots, physical ballots. You have to go in and vote. It's counted by hand. They can have an election in 3 weeks with tens of millions of votes. Have it all counted that night. There's no arguments. There's no funny business. What's happening in places like California and New York, that's not normal. These are total aberrations. Let's see. I mean, it really is much closer to like a Venezuela, honestly, like banana republics. Denny says, I found it funny. Carney wants a new world order, but got bitch slapped by Trump by putting a 100% tariffs on Canadian goods. Well, what else was going to happen? But again, I don't think that Carney's necessarily unhappy with that result. He's clearly intentionally sabotaging the relationship for his own goals, whatever they may be. Rosie says the most highly decorated spy was a woman, Odette Sansom. She was on the correct side of sanity in World War II, but she was passionate, a spy, paid liar, and completely committed. Impressive woman. Yeah, there were a lot of very brave women, like in the French Resistance, for instance, but also in espionage in World War II. A lot of very brave women. Put me to shame, I'll tell you that much. Let's see. All right. Rosie says, but still fits the description of how many women fight. But, that is such an interesting point, Rosie, right? Because it does speak to the different ways men and women on a fundamental level operate. We're not talking about all men and women and all interactions between men and between women and between men and women, obviously, right? But with men, there's always that physical threat. Of course, not all men, I'm not threatening people, but there's always that threat because men just are stronger than women and more aggressive. So men have to see interactions in a different way than women do typically, right? Because other women aren't going to beat the shit out of you, usually, right? It's done in a different way. It's done through reputation damage, insinuation, that sort of thing. It's a more social damage, right? So if you have, a war, you have, the guys on the front lines, which women are not really suited to. Yes, of course, some can do it, but they're not. Women generally are not well suited to that, but they're well suited to things like being spies. Not all of them, and it takes real serious, iron nerve. But yeah, I mean, that's a way that women can contribute in a war effort. And you could absolutely say that's fighting, right? Fighting for your side. Because there's a particular punishment for spies, right? So you have to be very brave to do it. So I think that's an excellent point, Rosie. Let's see. Trying to find where were we? Okay. Looks like we lost mental health. Oh, no. I'm going to jump off. Need to charge my phone, get some sleep. Have a great night. We have a great night. Thanks for stopping in. Hope to see you on, tomorrow for the premium stream. Izzy says, yeah, men know there is a line you don't want to cross unless you're ready for a fight. Exactly. JDL says, bro code. Exactly. All right. So there is a difference there. All right, let's move on. What was this? Did we do this? Thought we'd take a quick look. There was some talk of a potential China coup or an attempted China coup, which didn't happen. Let's take a look at this from Ken Kao, the China Crash Chronicle, exposing China's collapse. Let's take a look. Some people ask me why Xi purged Zhang Yusha. I don't know how you pronounce that. And whether this was a coup. My answer is simple. I don't think Zhang tried to stage a coup. This purge wasn't driven by evidence. It was driven by Xi Jinping's paranoia. Xi's suspicion has reached an extreme level. He can no longer tolerate even mildly discordant voices. More importantly, distrust of anyone with proximity to him has become the actual logic of governance. Everyone nearby is now seen as a potential threat. And once this mindset takes hold, it's almost impossible to reverse. When power is glued together by fear, when loyalty replaces competence as the only standard, purges become inevitable. And this is starting to sound a lot like Stalin, isn't it? Like these Stalinist purges where just totally irrationally just purging most of the, top military brass, most of the officers, this was like right before Hitler invaded, like a terrible, terrible idea. But just purging everybody, purging all the old Bolshevik leaders, right? It's starting to sound a lot like Stalin, isn't it? AF Post. China's most trusted general, Zhang Yusha, is accused of taking U.S. bribes for military intelligence, including on nuclear weapons, and reportedly forming a political clique reportedly aimed at fomenting a coup against Xi Jinping. So that's him there. And these were all the charges leveled at the people that were purged, all the officers, the generals that were purged by Stalin. There's another thing. Oh, so here we go. China's Central Military Commission after the 20th Party Congress. Well, there's Xi, and that's the general there who has just been taken out. And you can see, this is a purge, right? These guys are all guilty of something. This is a purge, and it's a result of paranoia. One busy night in Beijing. Who's this? This is Warren vs. CCP. Warren versus the CCP. American in Asia. One busy night in Beijing, the coup attempt failed. Unfortunately, Xi received intelligence 2 hours before the incident and has since arrested nearly 3,000 people, including military personnel and their families. Maybe there was a coup. I don't know if I can't confirm this, but certainly, for a dictator, purges are not surprising. Let's go and see this. This Ken Cow. I hope I pronounced that right. Let's hear what he has to say. Take a quick look. How long is this? Well, it's 10 minutes, but we'll just watch the beginning.
Hey friends, let me start with a bit of self-touting because the timeline matters. On January 21st, I posted a simple tweet on X and I asked the question, where is General Zhang Youxia? China's top general just disappeared. I wasn't guessing. I wasn't speculating. I wasn't spreading rumors. I was doing pattern recognition. And for that, I was smeared by some as a rumor monger. Today, the CCP publicly and loudly confirmed what anyone who understands how power works in China already knew. Zhang Youxia is finished. His whole family, including his wife and son, have been arrested for investigation. Now, how did I saw this coming before everyone else? Let's rewind. On January 20th, Xi Jinping spoke at a major party seminar. Every single Politburo Standing Committee member was present. But one absence screamed louder than any speech. CMC, the Central Military Commission Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia, did not even appear in the CCTV footage. So that is not normal. And because just 8 days earlier, on January 12th, Zhang Youxia was attending the CCDI plenum like everything was fine. So if something happened, the window was obvious.
All right, so I think we get the point. He's purging potential threats. Was there a coup attempt? These are the kinds of excuses that like Stalin would use, right? That a dictator would use. Probably not. All right. Spambot says, please play this at 1.5 speed. Talks too slow. Well, you're not wrong about that. But I think that I think we've heard enough. I don't think we need any more. So this is what I've seen so far on that. It is probably just a typical purge. Xi's been purging for the entire time, right? He's getting more and more paranoid. Again, it's just kind of very Stalinist, isn't it? But that's who Mark Carney is trying to settle Canada up next to, which very dumb idea. Latest polling in Canada from Shray East, new Abacus poll. Abacus is pretty accurate. They've got the Liberal Party at 41%, CPC at 39%. Their last poll, I think from about a week ago, had them 40-40. So, yeah, it's within the margin of error. This is somewhere correct. This is around whatever it probably really is. Has the NDP down at 8% here, which is a little bit worrying. Now, maybe when they get their new leader, those numbers will go up. Conservatives really need the NDP to be up around, at least 12% to draw those votes away from the Liberals, because that's the path for victory for the Conservatives. This kind of consolidation of the left behind Carney, that needs to be broken. So we shall see. Let's see. Just in, a new Nanos poll reveals that Canadians believe the United States of America is more of a threat to Canada than China. It's hard to believe. Do you believe X is a threat to Canada? USA, 71%, China, 60%. Canadians have severe TDS. If these numbers are accurate, and they're probably not far off, even if they are inflated, they're probably not far off. This is a problem for Canada. It's the result of now 10 years of solid Trump derangement syndrome being fed to Canadians from their mainstream media here. At the same time as mainstream media in the United States just, I think, openly gave up on objectivity and just became activist press, the same thing happened in Canada. So the Canadian press decided, well, we'll just do the same thing. We're just going to be whatever benefits our paymasters with the Liberal Party. And that's what they've done. And they have fed they have fed Canadians that are paying attention to them a nonstop diet of it's not even anti-Americanism, really, it's anti-American conservatism, a nonstop diet of that. Now, Canadians, weirdly, define themselves, their national character as being just not American. And there's a lot of anti-Americanism, but it's not really anti-Americanism, because liberal voters, they adored Kamala Harris. They adored Obama. They thought Joe Biden was great. They loved Joe Biden. He's awesome. What a leader. What a leader. Not like that evil orange guy, right? Canadian liberals are just American liberals, but colder. That's it. So they can go on about the United States and we're not Americans and America is evil, blah, 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 blah. No, they're just Democrats. They're Democrats, but colder. That's it. That's all they are. It's kind of a funny irony, actually. But in any case, yes, here's the derangement. 71%, because apparently a significant number of Canadian leftists actually believe that Trump might invade Canada militarily or send in, SEAL Team 6 to pluck Mark Carney, take him back to Washington, put him in a cage. And there is I think it's like 30% of Canadians actually think, or at least of liberals, actually think that's a possibility. As insane and stupid and delusional and infantile as that is, yeah, it's millions of Canadians. So it's just sad. I just find it sad at this point. The USA is not interfering in our elections. They don't have secret police stations here. They're not taking Canadians as political hostages, right, to torture. China's doing all of that. Totally deranged. Severe TDS. All right, so let's move on. Are we 2 hours and 9 minutes? I was planning to do like 2 hours tonight. I thought I'll do a short one tonight. Give myself a bit of a break, but I can't stop ranting. Here's JD Vance. Now, this was posted by Doge Designer and then reposted by Elon Musk, who says absolutely. So he agrees with whatever JD Vance is going to say in this. Let's find out.
But my guess is the same as yours. And look, left-wing violence is a problem in this country, Jesse. We've said this time and time again. My dear friend Charlie Kirk was murdered by a left-wing radical. The President of the United States was almost killed a year and a half ago. And then again, a few months after that, we have a real crisis where there are far too many left-wing people who don't want to debate, who don't want to disagree, who don't want to try to persuade their fellow citizens. They want to try to kill their fellow citizens, and that's a real problem. You feel, but my guess is the same as yours.
Yet there's something different now, right? So you can't have a new Red Guard graduating from university every year for decades and think it's not going to have an effect. Of course, it's going to leave the college campuses. Right? These people are going to graduate. The most deranged, the most woke institutions are the Ivy Leagues, and that's where the positions of power recruit. They recruit from the Ivy Leagues. They're coming out ideologues. They're coming out revolutionaries. You can only do that for so long before, well, now you've got a problem, a serious problem. And that's what you've got. You've got ideologues. You've got a real cultural revolution. You know what we were warning about like 10 years ago? Well, it's here. These are people that are totally resistant to facts, evidence, reason. They don't care. It's not about the issue, it's about the revolution. That's what we are witnessing every day now. That's what we are seeing. People who don't care. People who don't care what's real. They're not willing to confront reality. They don't care. They'd rather make up their own reality. Right? Woke zombies. Woke zombies. All right. So yeah, it's different now. They're different. I'm not saying this is everybody who voted for Kamala Harris or everybody who voted for Carney or everybody who voted for Keir Starmer, say. But there's a hardcore base there. And these ideas that it's okay, like political assassination is okay, it's kind of, I feel like your average leftist now, your average Democrat voter or liberal voter or whatever, they become kind of desensitized to it at this point. They're not really bothered by it that much, right? It wasn't everybody that was out, everybody that, every Democrat in the States that was on social media celebrating the assassination attempt on Trump. It wasn't everybody, but it seemed to be a lot that were kind of just fine. They're not going to, openly celebrate it, but they're kind of fine with it, right? Charlie Kirk, the same thing. Things have changed. What we're seeing, go and read about the Russian Revolution, right? And the Bolshevik subversion of the institutions in Russia. Read about that. You'll be astonished and terrified because it's history, maybe not repeating, but definitely rhyming. All right, let's move on. Alberta independence. Alberta independence. Rise of Alberta. What if Alberta left Canada? So here's a little video, an informative video. Let's take a look.
What if Alberta became independent from Canada? If Alberta were to become independent from Canada, it would emerge as a mid-sized nation with a population of approximately 5 million people, covering an area of 661,848 square kilometers. This new country would be larger than France and slightly smaller than Ukraine. English would likely remain the official language. Economically, Alberta would have a GDP of around $350 billion, contributing about 15% to Canada's total GDP. This translates to a GDP per capita of approximately $71,900, making it one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Their economy is heavily reliant on the energy sector, with oil and gas accounting for 70% of exports. Independence could offer Alberta greater control over its natural resources and fiscal policies, potentially leading to increased revenues and tailored economic strategies. What if Alberta became independent from Canada?
So, would it be as rosy as all of that? There's always unforeseen problems, but they'd be in a better position than a lot of countries. That's for sure, with all that energy. So where is the independence movement at right now? Well, they've got until May to gather 10% or 10%. They've got until May. They've got a petition. And they've got until May to gather 10% of the voting public to sign this petition. So they need to get 10% of the voting public to sign this petition. So about 177,000 people. And they've got months to do this. I think it probably looks pretty good. You've seen some big lineups. There does seem to be, they're filling up halls. There seems to be, hold on. Here are people lining up to sign the petition to have a referendum. So if by May they have 10% of the vote, of the voting public, so about 177,000 people signing the petition, then they will have a referendum on leaving. And then they will need, though, 51% of the vote. So I feel pretty confident they'll get the 10%. They'll get the 177,000. Whether they will get the 51%, that's up in the air. That's not a guarantee. I think it's possible, but that's not a guarantee. At least not on the first go. The lineup in Alberta to sign the referendum to leave Canada. The people have had enough of their government ruining our country. It's being mismanaged into the ground. It is a question. I think it's possible. I don't know if they'll get that 51%. There's a lot of conservatives in Alberta who don't want to leave, right? They don't, they want to stay in Canada. They're tied to Canada. So we'll see what happens. The longer that Mark Carney is in power, the more people will be swayed. So, I mean, we're seeing stuff like this. Cat Turd posted this. I'm sure there's many Canadians feeling this way. So Hope says, I'm moving to USA. I don't want to be in Canada anymore. This is not my country anymore with this Chinese Canadian communist regime. Well, Canada is not the same country. Everybody knows it, right? I mean, just when you go get groceries, you know it. Something's different. We're not the affluent country we used to be. Here, Rise of Alberta posted this. Every argument against Alberta independence collapses under basic facts. The biggest myths about Alberta independence, fact check. Let's see. Myth 1, First Nations have a veto. Fact. Treaty 6, 7, and 8 ceded the land permanently. Alberta gained full control in 1930. Treaty rights continue. Land ownership does not. Myth 2, Crown land is federal. Alberta sits on its Crown land. Not Alberta owns its Crown land, not Ottawa. Land, water, minerals, wildlife are provincial. Ottawa doesn't own our land. Full stop. Myth 3, it's Canadian oil. Alberta owns the oil and the royalties. Myth 4, Alberta can't separate. Alberta can separate. The Supreme Court confirmed a path to separation. A clear referendum result forces negotiation. No province can be forced to stay against its will. Now, it can be drawn out for a long time, right? So if they get a yes to separate in the actual referendum, there's legal hell for years to follow that. But they can vote to, there is a legal path, a real path for separation. Myth 5, Alberta is landlocked. Fact, 88% of our trade is already with the U.S. Fact, the U.S. needs Alberta's energy and food. Geography doesn't block prosperity. It strengthens leverage. Well, they can get their oil out through like Washington State, right? Through, I guess, like Montana and then through Washington State. Yeah, so, I mean, then, of course, you're going to have to share the wealth if you're doing that. But also, too, I mean, there's no reason. I mean, still, it still doesn't mean that they won't be able to come up with a deal to move it through British Columbia, like a northern British Columbia pipeline anyway, right? So there's all of that. Now, there will be all kinds of unforeseen consequences, right? It's, there's going to have to be a cost-benefit analysis, and I think that for the independence people, they've done the cost-benefit analysis, and they've decided, yeah, they can live with the cost, for the benefit. Let's see. I guess just hurry up and, I guess you just have to hurry up and do it as fast as you can before they move all of rural India to Alberta and immediately give them citizenship. All right. So there's that. So let's get to the last one of the evening. Let's go back to the chat for a second. All right. Anybody on YouTube, please go subscribe to the second channel, Radio Baloney News. I've had it for about 4 months now, started 4 months ago. That's where all the U.S. news, the world news, the UK, mind virus, meme reviews, all of that goes on the second channel now. Please go. The algorithm is not going to hook us up because it hates us both. So you kind of got to do it yourself. Subscribe to Radio Baloney News, the second channel. Second channel. All right. And everybody like this stream, get your free karma, your free good karma right now. All right, let's do the chat, and then we'll get to the last part of the stream and go to sleep, I guess. Let's see. Let's see. Are we talking about the referendum in here? Let's take a look. Izzy says, violence in politics is what first broke me out of my left-wing tendencies. I started paying attention more and realized the right had some good points. Well, for me, it was the censorship, and then witnessing the violence as well. I think especially the stuff around like Berkeley. Trudeau Survivor says paranoia is the building block of every prepper. Well, you're not paranoid if they're really after you. That's the thing. Let's see. And disasters happen. They just do, right? Like being prepared is just smart. Let's see. Spambot says, raid third rally if you end soon. Well, we've done all the raids. We don't need to do anymore. Not until February now. As he says, defund the CBC first, but no media should be funded by Texas. No, none should be. Absolutely not. Let the cream rise to the top. Fair playing field for everybody. Let's see. All right, let me go down. JDL says the revolution will be televised. Ottawa James, good to see you. All right. Spambot says, let's go. I think he's talking about like leaving Canada. Spambot's very, very Alberta separatist. My feelings are, I've been open with you guys. Like, I would like to try and salvage Canada as one piece, but I'm not sure that it can be saved, is the thing. And I think Albertans have the right, legally, they have the right to decide for themselves. And I support them in that. Let's see. Nevada says zombie apocalypse is here. Sure is. Sure is. Spambot says the petition has to have signatures matching 10% of the prior election turnout. Okay. Last election had 1.778 million votes, so yeah, 177,000. Ottawa James says Calgary and Edmonton will vote no. A lot of people don't understand that, like, Albertans know this. Albertans absolutely know it, and it drives them nuts. But I think people outside of Alberta don't understand that, because I think that like Ontario, Quebec, to BC to some extent as well, has this caricature of the Albertan, or even the the people in Saskatchewan. But the city halls of Calgary and Edmonton are full on batshit crazy.
Everything woke turns to shit.
You know, I was living in Calgary up until 2020. I came back to be closer to family. This family is the most important thing. If it wasn't for that, I'd still be living there, very happily living there. I really enjoyed it there. What was my point? Yeah, the city council is batshit crazy, like far left lunatics. Like everything is DEI and colonism that and settler this and racism, and like it's totally batshit crazy. Like totally nuts. I'm sure Edmonton is exactly the same. And they've got their nutcases and even in the small towns as well, right? Now they're a minority. They have power because nobody else bothers to vote. That's why they have power, right? It seems like Calgary's got a more reasonable mayor now. He doesn't seem to be like a far left loony. I'm not sure he's a conservative, but let's see. Izzy says, think they are well on the way to getting the referendum. Yeah, I think they'll get the referendum. I think they'll be able to do it. What James says, I wish we could have a referendum to toss Carney. Well, maybe in the spring we could have one. Let's see. Izzy says, yeah, the more dumb shit Carney does, the more likely Alberta leaves. Yeah. Amazing faces. How are you? Wouldn't the ignorant monarch, or at least the governor general, have to sign off on Alberta separating? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Ottawa James says theoretically Alberta can separate. Let's see. All right, let's move down a little bit here. Izzy says it'll be 10 years or more fighting about it, even if we vote. So it'll be years. Definitely years. Yeah. And there's just no way around that. Let's see. Izzy says, but I'm ready for that fight. The point has been made already. Alberta is being taken advantage of by the rest of the country. Well, I think Alberta and I think British Columbia and Saskatchewan are being taken advantage of by the rest of the country. More specifically, I would say. So everybody, yeah, like everything, out Ontario and everything east is taking advantage of the West. Ottawa says, I am okay with the USA as a partner, not China, for fuck's sakes. I mean, it's so absurd. Like, Canada relies entirely on the United States for our defense. 100%. 100%. We cannot defend ourselves. It kind of makes everything else a moot point when another country is totally responsible for your own defense. Let's see. Let's see. Spunbot is citing something here. If the province Alberta negotiates in good faith and Canada does not, the province can unilaterally declare independence. Text is close to this. Huh. That's interesting. Ottawa says, Spunbot, you're not wrong. Let's see. But just the logistics and planning for taking over all the things that the federal government is responsible for now, that'll take years. I mean, it's a Herculean task. Izzy says, had concerns about China for a while. They've been caught sneaking bioweapon tech in and out of Canada. That's true. The Winnipeg lab, 100%. Let's see. Streamer, how you doing? Been listening, haven't been involved in previous streams as much. Hope everyone's doing well. Well, we're all doing well. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. All right, I got to skip down because I do want to end this off fairly soon. We're 2.5 hours. Let's see. Amazing Face says same on Vancouver Island. Woke as shit. Mayors and council. Yeah, Vancouver Island is totally nuts. Well, North Vancouver Island is more sane. That's where Aaron Gunn is. Lots of university and government employees here. Well, Victoria, for sure. They all depend on government to survive and spread the woke mind virus, Izzy says. Yeah. Well, Victoria's, I mean, it's as woke as it gets. Let's see. I was in Victoria recently. It's a bunch of either like Wiccan witches or either that or like they thems. Basically, it's a bunch of Pats from Saturday Night Live. Remember, it's Pat from Saturday Night Live. Nobody could tell whether it was a man or a woman. It's either Wiccan witches or they thems that are Pat from Saturday Night Live. It's really weird, actually. Get that fat ass off and try something different. Here we go. This one's just straight to the point. Straight to the point. Let's see. Nevada says Trump is holding Greenland for me until I get noodles and go rule it. Yeah, he's just holding it for you. Amazing Faces. I live in Victoria. So, yeah, Victoria. And the traffic there is freaking appalling, by the way. It was like Manhattan. It was awful. Let's see. All right. All right. Rosie wants to do a raid at the end. Well, we could do a raid at the end anyway. Sure. Why not? Let's go. So what are we looking at here? What's this? Oh, I think this is quite funny. This is stuff you guys sent in. This is what the audience sent in. This is for you guys. Let's take a look. Who sent this in? Let's take a look.
Miss, you cannot come in here wearing that.
I literally came straight here from my baby's daddy house. I didn't have time to change.
That isn't an excuse. Respect my courtroom.
Didn't think I needed a whole outfit for a damn stop sign ticket.
Leave the courtroom last time I'm asking. What the hell is this?
What? You talking to me?
You cannot come in here dressed like
I
that.
came straight from work, okay? Sorry I'm not in a nun outfit.
Watch your tone.
Dios mío, este pendejo.
What did you just say? 15 days for contempt.
Wait. Is that a dog you're holding?
Yeah.
By the way, they're welcome anytime on Radio Baloney Live.
He's my emotional support doggy.
Get it out of here. Now, dogs are not permitted.
But he has a vest. It literally says
I don't
support.
care what it says. Remove them.
I can't just leave him outside. I'm here by
Not my
myself.
problem. Get it out now.
What is this? What in God's name are you wearing in my courtroom?
What? This? Is there like a dress code or something? Because nobody told me. I mean, it's my first time here. How am I supposed to know?
Are you serious right now? Get out of my courtroom now.
What are you doing?
What?
Miss, you cannot appear in my courtroom dressed like that. It's completely inappropriate.
This is literally how I dress every day.
Then you should have used better judgment.
How can I use better judgment if this is what I wear?
Get out of here.
Whatever, Judge.
Get out of my courtroom.
What you mean? I just got here.
You are not coming in here dressed like you're going to a club.
Club? Judge, this is my everyday fit. Church, Walmart, court.
I'm not debating with you.
Man, the judge hating already. Damn.
Well, why wouldn't you have the common sense to dress appropriately, right? Like at least just for your own benefit, to try and manipulate the judge somewhat, right? Why wouldn't you do that? Try and win over just win over by just looking like you respect the institution. I don't know, pretty dumb. Pretty dumb, if you ask me. Let's see. But again, they can be on Radio Baloney anytime. These ones can. She can. Let's see. Never gamble, it says. Who posted this? Massimo. Let's take a look.
If you see somebody at your card table take a deck of cards like this, cut them in half, and shuffle them this way, well, run. The best way to prevent any cheating is to take the deck of cards and smear them on the table like this and shuffle them like that, okay? Taking some cards and tossing them into the middle. So there's no way anybody could track what cards they won and all that kind of stuff. It is very effective, and that's why the casinos use them as well, okay? Right. In the casinos, the best way to shuffle the cards is to do this. 2 riffle shuffles, that's 1. 2 riffle shuffles, followed by a straight cut, cutting the cards into smaller packets, followed by 1 more riffle shuffle and a straight cut, cutting the cards directly once. Yeah, that's why you can't cheat in a casino. Shuffling the cards like this, okay, and a riffle shuffle followed by an overhand shuffle like this, followed by an Asian shuffle. Yeah, this way is the best way because you're, doing 3 different shuffles. So there's no way anybody could. So you see, if you were to cut the cards with 1 hand or 2 hands into 3 packets, 4 packets or 5 packets like this, twist and turn them around like that, and then cut with 1 hand. That way it can definitely prevent any form of cheating. Yeah, never gamble with strangers. What?
I thought, are they all just aces? No, apparently not. So he was pretty good. I like that guy. I'm giving him some applause right now. What are you guys saying? Izzy says it's strange how many historic references there were to what we are living through now, or just literary references. Read 1984 again. Just pick it up and read it again. I mean, it's I read it again like 10 years ago, and I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what's happening now. What? How did he know? Well, he knew from actually watching the Soviet Union is how he knew. Let's see. Raids are good. So I think you guys do want to raid, don't you? All right, we'll do a raid at the end. You'll have to tell me who to do, though. We're not there quite yet. Helps build relationships with other channels. Izzy says, yep. Radio Streamer says, I literally don't want people this entitled near me. That's a good point. I mean, are you talking about the courtroom ladies there? I mean, I was just saying the only reason I was saying that they were welcome on Radio Baloney Live is because they have large breasts. That's the only reason I was saying that. Let's see. Love these judges, Izzy. Yeah, I know. There was a good judges. JDL says, common sense not that common anymore. It's true. Culture's gone to hell. That's the problem. Trudeau Survivor says, maybe the ace cards are thicker so he can feel them, or maybe he's truly magic. Well, obviously, there's a trick. He's just very good, you know. Radio Streamer says, yes, but those breasts are attached to a person you don't want to live with. That's true. You guys make a good case. Maybe, am I really that shallow? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe we don't want to give them any more respect than they have for themselves. I'm not saying we were giving them respect. I'm not going that far. All right, let's move on. Let's see. What do we got here? Kids say the darndest things that will make you laugh. This one we're going to save for the premium stream tomorrow. Everybody who wants to watch the premium stream tomorrow, if you don't have Rumble Premium, you're going to have to get a channel membership. So get a channel membership for this channel and you can watch the premium stream tomorrow. You can be a part of it. They're really fun, right? It's very informal. We're not going over a bunch of news and stuff. It's really just audience participation. We just go through look up what's on X and stuff. And it's a really good time. And it's, there's usually not as many people because you have to be a premium member or a channel member. So everybody, if you want to be in the chat, I mean, it's the perfect time, so if you want to be a part of it tomorrow, you guts to do that. You got to join the club. You guts to join the club. Let's see. Her dad sent this after her boyfriend got deported. Oh no. This isn't going to be cruel, I hope.
Hey, honey, so that boyfriend of yours, he's gone. And when I say gone, I mean fucking deported. I made one phone call to ICE, beautiful people, best agents, and 30 minutes later, they had him in the van crying like a little baby. Turns out that so-called student visa of his expired in 2019, and he never left. How sad. But please understand, I did it for you, princess. That kid was a walking red flag factory. He couldn't even speak a lick of English. Come on now. Next thing you know, he's got you eating tacos for breakfast and naming your kids Ricardo and Jose. Not in my bloodline, sweetheart, you're a catch. You deserve a guy who owns a truck, not a guy who gets picked up by one. You deserve a man who pays taxes, not one who disappears the second someone asks for a social security number. So yeah, I snitched. I reported him. Don't be mad. Be proud. Your dad just saved you from a lifetime of translating for him at the DMV and explaining to your kids why Santa says Feliz Navidad. Now go touch some grass, eat a cheeseburger with real American cheese, and find yourself a nice boy named Hunter or Braden who says, yes, ma'am, and owns at least one pair of boots that aren't from Payless. Love you more than anything. You're welcome. Yeah, per dot.
My God, that's so mean. Oh, my God, that's so mean. Let's see. Let's save the comedy stuff for tomorrow. Let's save that for the premium stream. This is a joke. I'm going to read that tomorrow. We're going to save this for tomorrow. We're going to save this for tomorrow because this is all perfect stuff for the premium stream. They bought a sofa from Temu. Yes, they did. Don't buy the sofa from Temu. Temu is for buying that hoodie and in extra, 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 extra large, which is actually just a medium. Let's see.
When this couple bought a Temu sofa set, they definitely didn't expect what happened next.
Elephant.
Uh-oh.
You hear?
Up there.
embarrassing. What the hell? There's so many little pillows.
Sit in your couch.
It doesn't even open the right way. Wait a minute. Oh, I guess that's the best. Oh, okay, all right. That's a little better.
That's a couch for midgets. I think you just have to let it expand for 72 months, I think, and then it'll be fine. Let's see. That one we're saving for tomorrow. I think, did we do this one yesterday? No, because this was from yesterday. Hawaii's Big Island issues first ashfall warning since 2018 as Kilauea erupts. Moderate ash and heavy tephra reported, with a plume rising over 35,000 feet and drifting towards Glenwood, Pahoa. So look at that. Crazy. Very interesting. I wonder if one day it'll just go like nuts and just swallow the whole island. Just go like Herculaneum and what was the other one? Herculaneum and why can't I think of it? There was the two cities, Roman cities, Herculaneum and not Pamplona. What the hell is it called? This is driving me nuts now. You guys tell me in the chat. Herculaneum and the two ones that were completely covered in ash. They dug them out now, and you can go there and see all this stuff. What happened to my brain? All right, I better look it up. Pompeii. That's what I was thinking of, Pompeii. How did I not remember that? God damn it. What's wrong with my brain? What is wrong with my brain?
I ain't got a good brain.
Pompeii and Herculaneum. I mean, I got the hard one, the one that people don't remember, right? And I forgot the easy one. God damn it. Listen, everybody on YouTube, just for YouTube, second channel, Rumble, don't worry, everything's going to the same place. But second channel now is about 4 months old, Radio Baloney News. The algorithm is hiding it from you. It doesn't want us to hang out. It's afraid of us hanging out. It's afraid of us becoming too powerful. So you must seek this out and subscribe to it yourself. This is your side mission for the evening. Find Radio Baloney News. It's a new one. That's all the world news and American news and UK news and woke mind virus and meme reviews. All of that you can only find on Radio Baloney News now. Go and find that tonight. And there's like good karma and stuff. So there's that. Let's see. Radio Streamer says what most people miss about that sofa is that the company is very forward thinking. They know your smoking aunt from Florida is just going to come ruin your spare sofa anyway. That's the purpose. It's for the smoking aunt. Exactly. I hadn't considered that, but I think you're right. Pompeii, bruh. I don't know what James says. Pompeii, bruh. Pompeii, bruh. Thank you. As he says, I can relate to the brain issues. It just happens. Let's see. Judo Survivor says, I seem to recall Radio Baloney bragging about being the GOAT at Trivial Pursuit. I may have been exaggerating. Streamer says, it's not his fault, Chad. All of those True Gina poems. He's going to need a couple of years to fix his brain. It's true. It's seriously damaged my brain. The That it, Jack? How you doing? Damn, that GIF made me thirsty. Well, we better switch it up. I don't know. What else we got here? How about Extreme Football League? There we go. That should fix it. She's drinking. Let's see. All right, let's go back and let's get through what else we got to get through. This one I'll save for tomorrow. This one we can watch tonight. Let's watch this one now. All right. So what is this? That's it. But I do think that it sums it up quite well, doesn't it? Let's see. Judo Survivor's asking, when are the poems coming back? Do you know what? I was so traumatized by having to do like a year and a half of those every Friday? Because I said I'd do the Grok versus Trudeau every Friday until Trudeau was no longer prime minister. And the rules were I'd get Grok to write a poem about Justin Trudeau, but every poem had to have three things. The first was Trudeau had to get a vaginoplasty operation. The second was, what was the second thing? He had to get a vaginoplasty. And I can't remember. What were the other things? Was it just that he had to get a vaginoplasty? Oh, no. He also had to be loaded into a giant cannon at the end and shot into the sun. Launched into the sun. Loaded into a giant cannon and then launched into the sun. I think there was one other one as well, but I can't remember what it was. And we had a good time with that. But by the end of it, doing that every night for like a year and a half, I was seriously traumatized by the end of that. So I don't know. I mean, we could do a Carney one. We'll have to come up with some different rules, some different parameters for it. But I don't know if there's like I'll tell you what, if there's an election in the spring, we'll start then. Cause then I know I don't have to do it for like a year straight or something. Right. I could just do it to the election. Oh, the blackface. That's right. Radio streamer. Sorry. So he had to get a vaginoplasty. He also had to do blackface. And then he had to be launched from a giant cannon into the sun. So those are the three things. So we'd have to come up with a new three things for Mark Carney. Probably one of them would have something to do with China. Let's save that for tomorrow, too. I'm just feeling kind of tired. And this one, got to save that one. Babylon B hits it out of the park with this ad. Will I get copyrighted for this? Let's save it for tomorrow, too. I just think I'm done. I think what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that I'm just done for the night. We're 2 hours and 49 minutes. I think what I'm trying to say is I don't want to do anymore. So let's just not. Let's leave it. We need to have stuff for tomorrow anyway, right? So, you guys understand, right? Okay. Let's see. All right. To the sun, Nevada says. Izzy says, doubt the bee would strike you. But it's good for tomorrow. It's good for tomorrow's stream. We got to, because look, here's the thing about the hangout streams, the Monday Rumble hangout streams, the premium hangout streams, is I never prepare anything. So just kind of what we got. And then we got to just kind of ad lib through. So let's save it for that. And we put in a good 2 hours, 50 minutes tonight. For a Sunday night, that's pretty good. Were we going to do a Rumble raid? I think we were. So who was that we were looking for? Let's see. Let me look and find. Where was it? You guys were talking about somewhere you wanted to raid. I'm going back. I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything. What was it? What's this? Hold on a second. I think I see something. Well, it's actually on the wrong side. Where was that? Where was it? All right. I think I found it. Let me see what we got. Okay, is this actually live right now? It is live. Okay. So it's this, about nothing. Okay, well, let's do it again. Copy. And it is live, so we'll send you back there. Let's read. And then paste. And I think I have to do this. And then let's give it a try, see if it goes. Confirm raid. All right. Raid almost to go. So if you got anybody going off on the raid right now, thanks so much, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night for the premium stream. Thanks for showing up, you guys. You guys are awesome. We'll see you tomorrow. And the raid has begun. All right. So everybody who's still here, yeah, thanks a lot for showing up. It would be super boring if you guys weren't here. We had an entertaining evening, didn't we? I think we had an entertaining evening this evening. We had a little friction. We had a little friction going on, but it was cool. It was cool. Anyway, you guys are what really actually makes this fun. So thanks for showing up, and hope to see you tomorrow. As long as you guys keep showing up, I'll keep showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow. Don't forget, you're going to need to either be a premium member or a channel member for Radio Baloney to join in. So we'll talk to you soon.